We're here with Blaine the Herb Man, Blaine Andrusek, and we're going to talk about wild plants, wild foods that are in your local area. We're going to talk about some specific areas in Calgary, specific plants, but really these can be found
Pretty much anywhere.
pretty
Yeah.
much anywhere.
We don't like eating in ditches on busy roads, of course, but there's just so much open land, and there's lots of people that, with a polite request, are more than happy to let you graze on private land. In some cases it doesn't work because all the best stuff the horses and cows and sheep eat. But
Yeah.
there's lots of we got to respect park rules and that sort of thing. It's not a free for all. There's very few things that we actually pick when we're in a city park, but there's certain things that are actually very nutritious that are on the city's noxious weed list.
Right.
So they shouldn't even be in the park. But those are kind of fun. So
Yeah.
things like thistles, and now they've got they're using goats. Goats? Sheep?
Right,
Goats.
it's goats, yeah, I've
with
seen
a
those.
lady on a horse. Yeah, yeah, she's going to eat all our best weeds. But, oh well, so it goes. So Edworthy Park, we've got an event coming up here next weekend. It's the 15th, I think, is it?
That's
Is
right.
it? Yeah, 15th, Saturday the 15th. And Edworthy Park is a really nice place to do something like this because in just a few blocks, there's dry hillsides, shady woods, a boggy-woggy place, and each of those zones has different plants growing in it. And so sometimes when we do this, we get up to 50, 60, even 70 species in a day.
Wow.
And me and stories, so sometimes we got to cut that story off because we got to move on. But there's a lot going on in that park, and I've been doing walks there for this June was my 36th year anniversary of just in that one park.
Wow.
I go to other places too, but
Yeah.
36 years in Edworthy. So I don't think there's anything in that park that I don't know well. So as we teach herbology today, there'll be a nice mix of European folklore uses, First Nation uses, a few things that we've learned from Chinese medicine. Herbalism these days, for anybody I like to hang with, is very much international and also multidimensional, because there's things that, just as the plant has different things to give from their leaves and their roots and their seeds and their flowers, we have things from ultra low concentration but a different form of energy when we do things like flower essences.
Right.
And other herbs that we have to be a little careful with because they are very valid and they're strong, and anything that's got an applied use medicinally also deserves some respect, because if it's got enough power to fix something, it could also be overused.
Yeah,
So it takes a
absolutely.
bit of know-how. And it's good to get out on a live walk, because sometimes when you look at pictures and books, I've illustrated lots of books, and you don't really know, is that this big or is it this big, or or the leaves are out of focus or something. And so it's good to have a little bit of a see me, touch me, taste me, smell me kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Live is great.
Found that totally invaluable, and the books are great, and if you're going to join us that day, bring along your book, and
Absolutely.
it's kind of nice to okay, what about this one, and if you can see it in context, if you can see the environment that it grows in, it just puts it a whole new perspective.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. I always like to say, where would your friend Bill be on Tuesday afternoon if he's not at work? Is he
Right.
playing video games? Is he shooting pool? Is he at the swimming pool? Where's Bill? And so when you get to know a plant, you got to kind of look around at all the neighbors,
Right.
because there's a lot of plants you might be needing for a particular reason, and if you're in the wrong habitat, you're wasting your time.
Right. Some like their feet wet, some kind of grow on the
Exactly.
edges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edges. Like sedges. Sedges have edges. That's our little saying. They have triangular shaped stems, so it's a sedge because they have edges.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing about a book, that you get not just from a book, but your experience being with you. It's like you're looking at a plant, and there's little hooks of information, right? Anything in the mint family's got that square stem.
And I've run into hundreds of people over the years, Malcolm, that because I've been teaching all this over 3 decades, and I hear this a lot on the street where people say, Blaine, all that botany and all that chemistry and all that technical stuff, I don't remember any of that. But if I need something, if one of my kids are injured or my wife's sick or something like that, I remember one of your stories and I know what to do.
Right.
And so we've kind of kept that old story, the oral tradition that before we had paper is
Right.
what it always was with the First Nation people, and it's nice to still be a part of that.
Yeah, it's something we can all relate to, and like you say, it really helps anchor wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, stories are a very great way to transmit that.
Now, on this particular event, we end up about 10 blocks from the parking lot, but we're going to be in sight of the cars in the morning. So quite often if people walk in from the north side of the Bow River, they can just throw extra gear in my truck, and then we stay there, and there's a washroom nearby where we have lunch. But when we get to the boggy woggy part towards the end of the day, there will be mosquitoes there probably, and we do this rain or shine. And I always like to remind people, far better to bring a decent umbrella, because if we do get a thunderstorm or whatever, it doesn't help me or you any. If you're in I don't care if it's a $900 raincoat, and you got the hood on, you can't hear anything. It's
Right.
actually better to have an umbrella, and then everybody can still talk, and I don't have to yell, and it works better for everybody.
And
So,
it's good for sunshine too, as well, right?
Yeah. absolutely.
Yeah.
We get those strawberry blonde types that turn
Right.
beet red in the shade. Yeah, they
Yeah.
should have an umbrella. Yeah.
For sure. All right, well, check out the details. We're going to have an absolutely amazing time. It's a real honor and a real treat to be hosting Blaine Andrusek, and you'll be able to hear from him all the legends and the stories to help you develop your own plant wisdom and knowledge. We'll see you there.